Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Firestone for Empowering Democracy. My topic for this stream is implications of zombie viruses. I hope you're interested in zombie viruses. I know that I am very interested in zombie viruses. Hello, Kay. How are you this morning? Hope you're well. Please share, of course. And please like. I know you're already subscribed because since I didn't have time to put up a notification, I think for you to be here, you have to be subscribed. Uh, I'll share the screen. Oh, that's a little problem. Excuse me, I'm a little discombobulated this morning. Also, I'm going to share this on Facebook. There we go. Okay, that's done. So here's the piece I want to talk about. Should be up on your screen now. Yes, there it is. This really caught my attention. This is a piece of Siberia. Polar bear footprints in melting permafrost on northern Svalbard. I guess that's somewhere in Siberia. Scientists revive zombie virus after 50,000 years trapped in Siberian permafrost. This one was from Common Dreams, from the Common Dreams staff. Researchers documented 13 never before seen viruses that have been lying dormant, frozen in thick ice over tens of thousands of years. This one is from November 26, 2022. As our world continues to warm up, vast areas of permafrost are rapidly melting, releasing material that's been trapped for up to 1,000,000 years. This includes uncountable numbers of microbes that have been lying dormant for um, hundreds of thousands of years. Actually, millennia is the word they use in the article. To study these emerging microbes, scientists from the French National Center for Scientific Research have now revived a number of these, quote, zombie viruses, unquote, from the Siberian permafrost. I wonder how you revive a virus that's gone to sleep. Do you simply bring it up to room temperature? Including one thought to be nearly 50,000 years old, a record age for a frozen virus, returning to a state capable of infecting other organisms. The team behind the study, led by microbiologist Jean-Marie, says these ancient viruses are potentially a significant threat to public health. and further study needs to be done to assess the danger these infectious agents could pose as the permafrost melts. The researchers warned it may just be the tip of the iceberg. Quote, 1/4 of the northern hemisphere is underlain by permanently frozen ground referred to as permafrost, researchers wrote in the paper. Due to climate warming, irreversibly thawing permafrost is releasing organic matter, frozen for up to 1 million years, most of which decomposes into carbon dioxide and methane, further enhancing the greenhouse effect. Isn't that wonderful? Part of this organic matter also consists of revised cellular microbes of prokaryotes, unicellular eukaryotes, as well as viruses that remain dormant since prehistorical times. Unquote. Here's a quote from Samuel Jacobs. A 48,500-year-old virus has been revived from Siberian permafrost. 7 viruses from the Siberian permafrost have been revived and replicated themselves in the lab, including the oldest revived so far. That's the permafrost, I guess. This came from newscientist.com. According to Global News, in 2014, the same researchers unearthed a 30,000-year-old virus trapped in permafrost, the BBC reported. The discovery was groundbreaking because after all that time, the virus was still able to infect organisms. But now they've beaten their own record by reviving a virus that is 48,500 years old. If the authors are indeed isolating live viruses from ancient permafrost, it is likely that the even smaller, simpler mammalian viruses would also survive frozen for aeons, unquote. Virologist Eric Delaware from the University of California, San Francisco told the New Scientist. Chris Hendel tweeted, okay, I've seen this movie, and it didn't end well, and seriously, what's that name again? Pandora virus? The revived virus has been given the name Pandora virus Yedoma, which acknowledges its size and the type of permafrost soil that it was found in. There's an article in Science Alert also that says scientists revive ancient zombie viruses, quote unquote, frozen for aeons in Siberia. Something is stirring in the thaw. And that's it. We can read more on Twitter. Let us do that. Where is it? Where has it taken me to? Well, it doesn't appear it's taken me to a relevant page. Perhaps if I search for zombie viruses, I will get to the relevant thread. I guess I did get to the relevant thread. Scientists warn, this is from the New York Post, scientists warn long frozen zombie virus is public health threat. And Kura asks, I should be sharing this tab instead. How, if a zombie virus gets buried in a frozen lake, and why did they dig it up? That doesn't even make sense. Scientists found hashtag zombie virus. That means zombie theory true. What's your viewpoint? Comment below. Zombie virus awakened. Scientists revive 50,000-year-old zombie virus from Siberian permafrost. Is it bad news for the Earth? Well, who knows? According to the New York Post, it's a public health threat. Let's see what this says. Don't think the New York Post is an entirely reliable source, but what is these days? They're potentially prying open Pandora's box. Okay. French scientists have sparked fears of yet another pandemic after reviving a zombie virus that had been trapped under a frozen lake in Russia for a record 50,000 years. The situation would be much more disastrous in the case of plant, animal, or human diseases caused by the revival of an ancient unknown virus, reads the viral study, which is yet to be peer-reviewed. The new research was helmed by microbiologist Jean-Marie Olympic from the French National Center for Scientific Research. Apparently a high-powered organization, Science Alert reported. According to the preliminary paper, global warming is causing vast swaths of permafrost to irreversibly thaw. We know that, of course. Part of this organic, well, that's just what was said in the other article. Okay. A Marseille University professor, Jean-Michel Claveret, I thought there was Jean-Marie there, co-authored the study, issued a warning to medical authorities about the lack of significant updates on live viruses in permafrost since original studies in 2014 and 2015, the Sun reported. This wrongly suggests that such occurrences are rare and that zombie viruses are not a public health threat, the research team wrote in their findings. In order to study these awakening organisms, scientists have perhaps paradoxically refined some of these so-called zombie viruses from the Siberian permafrost. The oldest Pandora virus, Yidoma, after the mythological character Pandora, whose curiosity led her to open a box of trouble. And the type of soil it was found in was 48,500 years old, the record age for a frozen virus. This shatters the previous record held by a 30,000-year-old virus discovered by the same team in Siberia, 2013. While the Pandora virus was discovered below the bottom of a lake in Yukachi, Alas, in the Yakutia region in Russia, others have been found everywhere from mammoth fur to the intestines of a Siberian wolf. After studying the live cultures, scientists found that all the zombie viruses have the potential to be infectious and are therefore a health threat. They postulate that we could see more COVID-19 style pandemics in the future as ever melting permafrost continues to release long dormant viruses like a microbial Captain America. Interesting analogy. Quote, it is therefore legitimate to ponder the risk of ancient viral particles remaining infectious and getting back into circulation by the thawing of the ancient permafrost layers, they write. Unfortunately, it is a vicious cycle as organic matter released by the thawing ice decomposes into carbon dioxide and methane, further enhancing the greenhouse effect and accelerating the melt. The newly thawed virus might be the only tip of the epidemiological iceberg, as there are likely more hibernating viruses yet to be discovered. If the authors are indeed isolating live viruses from ancient permafrost, University of California virologist Eric Delwert told the New Scientist. I should share this with you. Don't think I shared this yet. More research is needed to determine these unknown viruses' level of infectiousness when exposed to light, heat, oxygen, and other outdoor environmental factors. This isn't the first long dormant organism to be awakened from its icy slumber. In June of 2021, Russian scientists resurrected, quote, zombie, unquote, worms that had been frozen for 24,000 years in the Arctic. So, I wanted to comment on this. I wanted to note it, of course, first, and I wanted to comment on it. It seems to me have a lot of possible social implications. For example, if we're going to have a continuing stream of viruses getting loose, then it seems to me that we need to make certain political reforms. Dvorak says, this sounds unnerving. Kay says, well, there are a number of comments there. Kay says, hi, Joe. And the best says, what? Kay says, just what we need, shake my head. Kay says, maybe they will kill us all before the earth burns. Dvorak comments, the best. Are you like 12? Dvorak says, this sounds unnerving, Papa. Yes, it was kind of unnerving to me. One of the first implications from my point of view was, well, we really, really, really have to take over the pharmaceutical companies. We really do. They have to be nationalized because they are going to soak us dry. Of course, they can't really soak us dry because we have a fiat currency, so we can keep on feeding them currency. But The problem is, though the government has unlimited capability to produce currency, the cures for the viruses, the vaccines that have to be developed very, very, very rapidly, pharmaceutical companies are then just looking at as fantastic sources, okay, of profit. And if we have to either nationalize those companies or very closely regulate their profits and what they're charging for the vaccines. I mean, a steady stream of viruses would be a national emergency that requires we produce new virus cures in record time. Also, we don't know anything about the possible deadliness, okay, of these viruses and the contagion possibilities. And we won't have any way of knowing it until the new viruses appear. So that sounds like a continuing national emergency to me. And the desires for profit of the pharmaceutical companies cannot stand in the way of the human world being able to adapt to this. We have to get over our notions that nothing will fundamentally change. We're going to have to be much more adaptive than we were to the coronavirus. The United States alone cannot afford to lose 1 million people every time a new virus appears, because the permafrost is going to be continuously producing the new viruses. We have to face that, and we have to adapt to it. And our relationships to the pharmaceutical companies are going to have to change. Capitalism cannot handle this kind of situation without heavy government regulation and intervention. We're going to need that. We cannot really shy away from it. And since we don't know the range of these viruses, we don't know what the limits of their contagiousness and harm can be yet. Now, I do have to note that humans were around 50,000 years ago. The evidence is now that Homo sapiens was around 50,000 years ago. So, those humans must have adapted to the virus, to these viruses. So presumably will be able to adapt to them too, but at what cost? And how quickly will we have to adapt? And what will be the implications for our political systems? Will the Chinese be able to maintain the approach that they've taken to the COVID virus? I don't know. Or to the variants of the COVID virus? Okay, I don't know. I personally think that the Chinese approach has been very, very successful in limiting fatalities. Much more successful, okay, than our approach was. That some people will come back and they will say, well, what about the economy? Well, what about it? The Chinese economy continued to grow. It slowed down some, but with all their shutdowns, they managed to limit the amount of deaths to thousands. They were nowhere near the casualties that we had with a population 5 times larger. So we're going to have to look at those approaches to containment, and we're going to have to restudy them. And we're going to have to decide whether human life is more important or whether the economy running at full speed is more important. It seems to me that we need to find ways to adapt that allow our economies to keep on running, but that safeguard our lives. And when choices like that are around, we don't seem to choose very well. I think we need to choose life, and we need to remember that we have a fiat currency system. We are a monetary sovereign within that particular system. There are all kinds of financial adaptations we can introduce to avoid inflation, to keep people supplied with the basics, to structure work so there's minimal contact, okay, among people while these pandemics are going on. But anyway, my main point here is that the production of these viruses constantly from the permafrost is going to require us to think through in detail which of our systems and subsystems are vulnerable to the impact of this kind of stream, okay, of dangerous infections that we could be getting. We have to upgrade medical science much further, and we have to create social innovations to handle such a constant stream and to adapt. So that's my message for right now. Okay, thank you all for coming. And special thanks to my daughter, Devora, who I always love to see on these streams. CC Swift, I'm sorry you couldn't be here a bit earlier, so your lunch break could have been longer with this stream. But there's always the video. CC says, seems corporations would be glad that the federal government is providing vaccines to keep potential workers healthy. Yeah, the corporations will be glad, but not, of course, the pharmaceutical corporations who may be placed out of business. If we need to have tight control over vaccine construction and vaccine research, it may not be possible to maintain the private character of the vaccine companies. Just saying, just being real. CC says, great point. Thank you, CC. And L. Stephen Day says, thanks, Joseph. Thank you, Steve Day. I'll see you a bit later. I have an afternoon stream coming up. The afternoon stream will most probably be about Biden's past and future. And this will be based on a commentary from a piece by Robert Reich which I found silly in some respects, but worth thinking about, okay, in others. And then later tonight, okay, I can't say when the second stream will be exactly because I haven't worked out uh, some very practical details at home and things we have to do today. Uh, okay, the 9 o'clock show will be called Apology to Younger Generations, empowering democracy, apology to younger generations. And that's going to be a commentary on some work that Tom Hartman has done. That's going to be very interesting. So I've got two more really interesting streams that will be coming on here. There may be a change in the offing. Uh, okay, I may have a guest on later today. Uh, okay, I have to see if I have a message from her. Okay, so these topics I just spoke about will be coming up later today. There won't be any changes. Um, but I did find out something very interesting, which I can tell you about. Perhaps it may be relevant for Devora. Anyway, yeah, they found these old viruses. They found one that was 48,500 years old in the permafrost, CC. Anyway, goodbye for now, and I will see you later.